What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chromecast. My name's Joe, joined here today by Gabriel.
Hello.
And Roberto.
Hey, what's up?
We took off last week because we were out in Las Vegas at CES 2023. Had a very busy show.
It was. It started real lax, and it felt weird that we were out there, and it was like...
it flipped.
We were
what's
like,
happening here?
We
And
were
then-
like, oh,
Strange.
this is what it's going to be like. Nope.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And it was
Not at all.
full-blown CES.
We had 2 days of back-to-back
Really wanted it
meetings.
to be a 3-day thing.
Yeah.
Like, we wanted to split them out, but the way everybody was doing, like, we were done basically Thursday, and people were like, all right, day one of CES. Like,
Right.
day one, we're leaving.
Yeah, we got people asking, are you going to this? And I'm like,
No,
we'll be home, bro.
We're heading back.
Yeah.
But it kind of worked out. We ended up getting to play a lit par 3 course.
Yes.
That was fun
Not
Angel Park.
Not just lit
It
as in,
was
like,
lit.
awesome.
It was lit.
It was
It was
lit
off
up.
the chain.
No cap.
Zero.
Promise y'all, it was no cap.
No cap. For real.
No, it was lit up. Like, we got there that night. The sun goes down at this time of year at like 4:20 or 4:10 or 4:15 or something dumb.
Very early in Vegas.
Because Vegas is on the very eastern side of the most western time.
Right.
So we kind of see the opposite here where we live. We're on the very west edge
Yeah.
of our time zone. So we have the longest possible days.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the latest possible sunsets, basically, in our time zone. So
Vegas, not so much.
yeah, exactly opposite. So I was like, somewhere I probably won't go down to like 5
Yeah.
or something. And we're like, and I looked it up and like, nope, like 4:17.
Yeah.
was the sunset,
Yeah.
not beginning of dusk, sunset.
It was all
like dark.
so weird because, like, you always have to deal with the time change, but then you had that with the sun setting at like
Feeling super
4:20,
late.
whatever, and
Yeah.
it's like we're sitting down to eat, and like, man, why are we so tired? Why are we so hungry? I'm like, well, it's like 8:30 where we're
yeah,
from, and
yeah, and it's been dark.
it's been
forever.
dark since we got here.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was a good show. Once we got settled in, we had Wednesday and Thursday kind of back-to-back meetings.
Yeah, all
We
day.
for those, I guess, kind of a little tidbit here, a little behind the scenes. We don't go to the show floor anymore.
Normally, it's like we don't go there for much.
We normally go there
at
for
all this year.
Samsung. We've gone the past couple times. I was gonna say past couple of years. We haven't been there the past couple of years.
Yeah,
The past few times we have been at CES, we've gone to the show floor for Samsung.
yes,
This year we did not. Day one we were basically finishing up stuff. So most of the meetings that we do are with one-on-one with manufacturers in suites,
yeah,
in hotels.
dispersed about Las Vegas.
And the HP, if you all go watch the HP Dragonfly Pro video, you'll notice that one's at like a little miniature CES.
It's real
Yeah.
weird.
It's so weird, man.
Such a big show. It has like shows inside of shows.
There's
kinda what it is.
there's like parties, there's all this different stuff. There's hotels that are basically taken over by CES, and then you have
Oh,
the
yeah.
show floor, and it was wild.
Yeah.
So PepCom was the first
What's that stand for? Like, what is that for?
PepCom. I have no idea.
Pepper Communications.
Pepper Communications. Yeah.
Just peppered
No
in.
idea.
Peppered in. But PepCom is normally like a bunch of kind of obscure things is what it
Most
seems
times,
like.
I ran into the people that make this dog groomer. I just
It was
bought.
so cool.
Yeah.
Which, it was crazy. We were
was a weird
standing there
connection.
talking. So, anyways, the PepCom is at the Sands Venetian, which is where CES used to be way back in the day.
No, that wasn't at San Venetian.
Was it not?
No,
PepCom was
that
at.
was-
where
That was where we
PepCom?
went to MediaTek and Asus. Was at San Venetian.
That's right.
It all blurs together for
Ah,
me.
Where the
don't
heck
know.
was that?
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't
It
know.
wasn't the Wynn. It wasn't Cosmopolitan. It wasn't.
Don't know.
I don't know.
Was it no, it wasn't Caesars. Caesars is where
Resort-
we
It
went
might
to
have been at
Asus.
the Venetian.
I
Resort
think it was.
World was at.
Because the Venetians,
Lenovo.
their ballrooms
Yeah.
and stuff look very similar to
Yeah, I think it was
Mandalay Bay.
I think it was
Okay.
I
in
think it
our
was
first
Venetian.
couple years, those first things, PepCom and that stuff were in Mandalay Bay.
Yeah,
It all
so-
looks
Yeah.
very similar, so it gets hard to
Yeah.
remember.
but- So anyway, we went there for HP for whatever reason. HP doesn't do a booth at. They don't have
No,
a booth
there
at
was
the
no
show.
booth.
They
No.
don't do a. They don't
Probably
rent
save
out-
a ton of money.
Yeah,
let's be
they
honest.
don't rent out
100%.
Yeah.
I
So
saw-
they literally had one table, just a regular table with 2 or 3 devices on it. Then they own Poly and a couple of other companies. Poly had some stuff set up across the way, but it was literally a Windows Dragonfly and this, and then what they had like an all-in-one or
all
something.
at once
Random
monitors or
all-in-one.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a state fair kind of.
It does.
Yeah.
If you went to an event space, not even that much.
Like a job fair. It's just it's just rows of tables. Like
Pepcom's weird.
It's pretty strange.
But we ran into a bunch of people. And
it was great.
People there.
Paul Abdul was there.
Yeah, Paul Abdul.
Seriously,
Almost
she was
ran
there.
down.
Almost
Gabe
killed me.
Yeah,
but we're standing there talking to some people, and this small lady comes walking up, and she's like, "Gabriel, hey!" And I'm like. And then I see her name tag. I realize she's a PR. She works for a PR company for another product called Airgram that we've been covering. It's like a Google Meet video transcription thing for different video conferences. She walks up. She's like, "Oh, you got to come by and see our booth for your go." She was there representing this dog grooming vacuum.
The brand on it now. But we just bought it like 2 weeks ago for Honey, and it's like a Flowbee for dogs basically. But it also has like grooming tools. It's all attached to this really quiet vacuum that's still got a lot of suction, but it's quiet, so it doesn't freak the dog out. So like she barks at every vacuum ever, but that vacuum she doesn't.
Yeah.
And so you can like comb her and brush her and get all the hair, and you just hit this little button. It goes into the vacuum. And so we're walking over there. I'm like, we bought something similar to this, thinking someone's knocked this off on Amazon.
I mean, there's a million of them on like AliExpress or whatever.
And so we get around the corner and I see one model and I'm like, it's something like that. And I look over, I'm like, no,
there it is.
That's it. That's the thing I've got. And like, that's actually
really weird happenstance.
Super weird, but it was kind of cool.
But they, so like we don't go to that. Other than that, we don't go to
that and go into where MediaTek and Asus were and the Venetian Sands. Like that's another exposition center. I mean,
but like they're like
but
individual
they still have their
rooms.
own areas.
So. It's more like individual booths versus the open showroom. The stuff you see a lot of times on the open showroom floor at CES. We didn't even touch that this year.
It would have been fun. I mean, we were talking earlier
an extra
about
day would have been kind of cool to go play around in there.
We were talking about Mr. Mobile, his recap, Michael Fisher's recap, and there was some cool stuff that he got to see that was
Joe
probably...
and Robbie are in it. If you go watch it,
Yeah.
When he's in the Asus booth, you'll see Joe and Robbie.
Yeah. We ran into him quite a bit.
Yeah, it was cool
this year. So.
But
it was neat too, like a lot of connections you've made at the MediaTek Summit over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were able to see some of those guys and hang out with them.
And it's just funny, like you see, like the first MediaTek event I went to, it was like, how do all these people know each other? But now you see, it's like, you end up running into, we were at the Google event, and it's like, oh, hey, here's so and so and so and so. Like you end up just kind of
as big as bloggers and influencers are in the industry, we are still kind of a small segment because a lot of the people, the media you see at CES is mainstream media. I mean, we went to one private party, and there was a guy from AARP there,
which is so weird
because they write about this stuff. They write about technology. I mean, Fox News, CNBC, MSN. These are, and CNET, all these
they're covering
tech. So
they're covering CES for sure.
We're all kind of like a little group. We gotta stick together.
The creators.
But it was a super fun CES. It was nice to be in person for the first time in a few years. And it was nice to get our hands on some devices, and this was probably, as far as number of things we covered, this was probably the
most populated CES that we did.
Absolutely, hands down. Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of 2020, how many things we covered.
You had the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook. You had Asus's 436.
Acer, that was the bendy screen year.
Yeah, those were like
were the AMD HPs,
so there were like,
was that year or the year before?
There were like 3 or 4.
So. There weren't that many flagship like consumer facing devices.
Right.
I think we put out 5 videos, right? 5 published videos on main channel this year.
This year?
Yeah. How many?
We will.
Yeah.
Once
you get out the Acer.
I got the Acer out yesterday. No, wait, no. The Acer.
The new and all-in-one.
Is that done?
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, that'll make the HP, the Asus, and the Asus again. Add in one. Which one am I forgetting?
Lenovo. 3i.
Yeah, we got that one out while we were there. That's why I'm forgetting it. So yeah, that'll make 5 main channel videos. Tons of social content.
Yeah, I mean 7 social videos, I think. So yeah, it was just.
And that wasn't even. I mean, you still had the Asus Chromebox, which is pretty cool. I mean, there was a lot.
Yeah, we didn't talk.
Oh
yeah,
we didn't even cover. We didn't even make a main channel video on that.
Yeah,
a lot of ChromeOS stuff. So we're going to dig into all of that. I do, though, before we get to our favorites that we saw at CES, what are some of the random things that we did get to see that you all thought were interesting?
100% the 3D screen from Asus. And that's what Michael Fisher actually named that his PC. Oh, you didn't watch the full video.
Yeah.
I want to watch. Yeah, I got to where he talks about the foldable
He gives his
stuff.
best in show to
It was wild.
And
It was.
he says this too. There's no way you can watch it on video and experience how crazy. Like he showed up and they had a custom made foam cutout of his face because this thing
So that he
uses
could
eye
film it.
tracking software. So they had a hole cut in it so he could put his camera lens in there and take. And even then, you'll watch it
Not
and
the
you
same.
think, oh, this is blah.
He got a few angles where it captured it a little bit.
kind of, but nowhere near reality.
I don't know where you would go see one, but if you
Hopefully,
ever.
big Best Buys eventually.
If you ever have the chance to go, what was it called? It's the Pro Art 3D Pro.
I'm thinking
Pro and
Tom.
3D
Tom, the tech
Pro
chap,
Art.
had a few good angles where you could see it a little bit.
And they've got some demos on their website that give you the illusion of what it's doing, but I mean, it literally, without any type of accessories or peripherals, it looks like you could reach out and grab the stuff that's in front of you.
I mean, it's coming
insane.
out from the screen so far, like a full hand's length away from the screen. Like
Then the
Bizarro Town.
depth switching thing that it did.
Yeah, so
and
with, like the Avatar movie's playing, so it's only doing it on first party content. So it's not like you can turn on a 3D YouTube video to make it work, which they should figure that out. But because it's just parallax, it's splitting the screen into two screens and shooting it at your eyeballs, basically. But the Avatar demo, where they got the
floaty
little
jellyfish things,
the things that look like big dandelions. There's a slider on their video player for that thing. You slide it to basically regular 3D or like 3D
Inverted.
that way, and so like it would look like
everything shifts.
you're looking at it. What are those things you made in elementary school? Where you took like a shoebox and you put stuff in it.
Oh, a diorama.
Yeah, it looks like a diorama basically. So all the three dimensions are going inward instead. And
And what
It was
it has,
mind-boggling.
there's multiple layers on top of the main screen is how it creates that. But again, there's eye tracking software, so it will find your eyes that way. It knows
direct
exactly
As you
how
move
to
your
project
head,
them to. Yeah.
And I
it's
think
kind of
that's-
moving with you as you
well,
move.
and it's not just that. Like that's the motion tracking technology, but that it uses the eye tracking things to basically align those parallax layers
and to get the distance
Right.
correct. Yeah.
And so you've probably seen it.
Wow.
There's certain like postcards you can get every once in a while that have the parallaxing effect on the postcard, and you hold it, and you like there's stuff coming off the card. It's like, wow, that's really interesting. Well, you can take that postcard and kind of keep moving it until you get it the right distance, and your eyes are the right amount apart for that 3D to kick in. Well, this screen is just doing that for you, and so it's the best 3D period that I've ever seen. That's fake 3D.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen anything quite that
And no
good.
glasses. Yeah.
I didn't say this. I think, did we do a video or something about this? Or I wrote an article about it, and I didn't say that in an article. I should have. The more I've thought about it, like even with VR glasses, which are very good at three-dimensional things, because you're looking at two different screens, it can create depth, and it does a great job of creating depth this way. But where VR glasses really struggles, if anything's coming out of the screen towards you, like, and you can do it, you can put your hand in front of you, and it's hard to get focus on something that's too close to you because your eyes.
It's not direct line of sight.
Right, the angle's messed up, and your eyes can't put together the thing it needs to see. It did the best job of any 3D medium I've ever seen of doing that. Like this, I had 3D rendering of this Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I turned it to where its head was out towards me, and it visually looked like it was probably 6 to 8 inches away from the screen towards my face, and I could focus perfectly in on its eyes and teeth and everything as I moved it around. I'm like, this is bonkers how good this is. Practical application, can't think of one, but it's still one of those pieces of tech that you look at and go,
Wow.
holy, like this
Well,
is
and the
just
pen.
insane.
I didn't get to use the pen,
didn't
but
either.
I saw
Michael
Fisher using the pen, being able to control what's on screen.
in space.
And that's what I think, you see like Google and different companies doing like 3D models for like biotech and medical applications. I could totally see this being used for that. I'm sure there's other stuff that they've thought of, but you think about, doctors collaborating around the world and actually being able to really get into 3D models and dissect things. But I mean,
I tell you, where I could see it 100% being very useful. You remember that thing? I think it was 2 Google events ago where it was I/O, where they showed the really high quality video chatting. It's like a 3D looking thing. Imagine doing that and seeing the other person being captured in a 3D that a screen like that on a little bit bigger of a scale could re-render them in 3 dimensions where you can see around them.
Yeah.
As you're looking, like that would
Very
be next level.
Yeah,
that
that's
would
like
be so interactive.
You're in person almost.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
That would be close to like a hologram situation.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And this particular tech is that good. Like it would be scary. honestly. I think doing a video call, if the other side was being captured in proper 3D and then being relayed to you to where you could see it that way, it would be wild, it would be really wild.
Yeah,
because that person would basically just come out of the screen.
Yeah, because I mean, 3D, as consumers know it, is still somewhat two-dimensional. It's all based on you facing forward at whatever you're viewing at, but to be able to actually see it, it's almost a meld of AR because it's in an actual space that you can get around. That's right. That would be very strange.
Yeah. I thought the Asus was amazing. Asus's booth is always just kind of cool. Like, they have a lot of cool stuff. All their gaming stuff was cool. Their gaming rig setup is nice.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say that the area that we were in, that is just for PR. Like, there's no public folks that come in there. So I wonder, who knows what their main booth looked like, but that was a nice booth. Lenovo is known for bringing crazy stuff to CES. There's been some wild things that they've brought before, and they had another dual screen.
Yep.
It's not a folding display. It has a hinge in the middle, but it's two screen PC.
Surface Duo the size of a laptop.
Right.
Yeah. Basically is exactly what it is.
And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Keyboard, but a Bluetooth keyboard and all
did their last one that we saw in 2020, did that ever come to market? The folding one?
It did. It was too expensive. And
the X1, was that the Fold X1?
They've made a new one. Yeah. They've made a new one too that Michael Fisher's got a video about it, but it's still not available.
Yeah. And this
it was
one
supposed to become available in November.
Did they say I heard someone say like $2,100. I don't know.
With all of it.
I could buy that. Yeah.
Because it does come with a cool origami stand and the keyboard, the Bluetooth keyboard that'll flop on top. And I thought that was interesting.
It is.
I don't know. I think maybe setting them side by side could be super productive, having two displays right side by side.
Yeah.
The waterfall, and maybe it was just the demo wasn't great, but like in waterfall, she was trying to scroll, and it was like breaking, and then like the top was scrolling and the bottom wasn't scrolling. I was like, oh boy.
Well, then your menu or your taskbar was still present in the top screen.
Right. It wasn't.
So you had a huge break between. So that's a little weird.
Yeah.
But I do think that.
And obviously, this is like prototype.
Bottom and top. So basically, opening the clamshell and then just setting it upright. Is attractive to me. I use a screen over top of my screen, so that as a multitasking thing would be awesome. But I just can't imagine, like, this is a device that's like, oh, you can consume content on it because it makes a really good tablet because you flip it around in tablet mode and it's like there's no keys or anything on it, so it would feel pretty good that way. But I'm like, would I really want to go through all that hubbub every time I want to open my laptop and do something? Like, if I got a task that should take me 2 minutes, do I really want to get all that crap out? And if not, you're going to open it up like a laptop and then be typing on a haptic virtual keyboard. I don't know.
And that's what some of their stuff just kind of feels like. First off, shout out to them. They always have a great setup. They have their main room with all their devices, but then they had two other rooms with all the devices, but they were kind of like private, so we were able to go in there and close the door.
Go watch the video.
Yeah,
it's our best one from
But
CES.
they always have like duplicate rooms set up just for that purpose. But they had another one. They did an e-ink solution a couple of years ago where the e-ink was on the back of the back of the outer panel of the laptop. Well, they have a new one that the e-ink will you can actually pull up your Windows instance on that e-ink, which is really weird. I've never seen anything like that. Kind of a cool concept, but it's e-ink and you're trying to view like Windows desktop icons and stuff on e-ink, and I'm like,
and not just that, but the screen flipped.
Yeah, that was cool. So the screen
that was the one. Yeah,
but pulling up Windows and trying to open applications on the e-ink screen, I'm like, cool, but I don't know that anyone's going to do that.
Well, I think the benefit there is that if you're wanting to read a document, instead of having to run it through some proprietary software, it's running Windows. You just open it.
I could see that.
Because that's the benefit of e-ink, is that you could have it in a meeting or something like that. You could have it just closed, basically, and have a document pulled up and zero battery use while you're sitting there, which is really cool. I was more intrigued, I think, by the spinning part. Like the hinge of that thing
was so tight. Yeah, it was really good.
Because ultimately, if they could get that hinge right, imagine for a second something that built like a Pixelbook with a very symmetrical top and bottom where you could spin the top and close it down and cover the keyboard up and still have the same back and pick that kind of device up. Because this one was a little offset and it's definitely a laptop that was a tablet afterwards, but something that was thoughtfully made that it could be a laptop or a tablet type replacement there. I think that would be really intriguing because people hate the keys and the trackpad all on the back when you flip a convertible over, so that kind of undoes that issue. But Yeah, I mean those couple things I think kind of cool.
I was pulling it up because I couldn't remember the name, but the Sony and Honda collaboration. They're making a new EV brand called Afeela.
I'll believe it when I see it.
And
a lot of people were giving it like best in show. Like
moving entertainment space.
I read just as many things saying it's still vaporware. It's just like remember in 2020 Sony had a car, an EV that they debuted.
What I think is more interesting, I forget the two vehicles, the Volvo and there was one other one.
BMW had that.
No, the one in the Google booth. There were the two ones in the Google booth.
I don't remember.
The Hyundai, was it a Hyundai?
It's the new Hyundai, not the Ioniq 5.
Yeah. I don't know. Regardless, I like seeing those companies that are out there in the market putting out EVs, iterating.
The Audi they had in Google's booth the last time we went was bad.
They had an Audi there this time too.
I think there was
the one that was there last time. They had it right back there by the ball pit.
Oh, yeah.
That thing was sick.
Yeah, but this, CES is obviously a place for these companies to show off EV tech.
Oh, sure.
And
I just remembered that we took a lap around Pepcom, and I completely forgot that Citizen was there. We should have went over.
We should have,
because it's not Wear OS, but
I saw them because remember I was like, oh look, there's, and we just never made it back over there. The other cool thing that we did in Vegas, if you saw on our Instagram story, was we took a ride on the Vegas Loop.
Yeah.
Which was about 45 seconds.
We waited longer at the gate. Yeah, then we did.
Did you see some of the footage, though, of other people that got on in the south entrance, and it's like all LEDs and like crazy, they had music playing? Yeah, like the one that we went to was like very tame. There was no lights or nothing. Like we walked up and paid and got in the vehicle, and then they dropped us off in this kind of parking lot. Whereas the one on the south side, the one on the south side of the convention center is like this bigger room, and there's like there was like all these lights, LED lights along the side, these big screens, and like they had music playing. Fun. I know. I'm like, dang, that would have made our video way cooler, but the idea is very fascinating, and we did. I mean, we went from on the other side of the strip where there's all the hotels and it's very busy. We went from there to the convention center in 45 a minute.
Is it Cosmo? Is that where we got in?
Yeah. No, that was Resorts World.
Resorts World.
So we were up on the far there, and we got all the way to the convention center in about 40, because it's a underground
straight
direction.
Line. Yeah. No
so
stops.
the idea there is fascinating.
Instagram
obviously.
liked it. My reel blew up.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool stuff. There's obviously a lot to see at CES that we didn't even get a chance to go look at. But there was lots of cool ChromeOS stuff. So we're going to take a quick break for an ad, and we're going to come back and talk about those. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. As promised, let's dig into our ChromeOS top picks from CES.
Top picks.
This
will be short. I think we're all the same. Do it.
Yeah, I think this is just a round table.
Yeah. All the Chrome stuff.
It's just all the Chrome stuff. Here we go. Number one. I'm just going to go in order of how we covered them.
Start with boxes.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's start with shapes.
Sure.
Let's start with boxes.
Asus.
Yeah. It's Chromebox.
Charging.
That's
on top.
Around the corners. But yeah, it's got.
That's on my top. One of my top picks, though. I mean, Acer's got theirs, which is fine, but Asus's looks.
It is
dope.
pretty.
Acer came out with a couple years ago. I think it was the 8th gen.
Pill shaped one.
Yeah, and it had the little stand, so it sat vertically.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. Then they went back kind of commercial looking, and everybody's had that traditional square one. Acer's had one. Asus had one. CTL, all that. Asus's this year looks dope, and they've rebranded. They no longer say Chrome on the top. They have a monochromatic Chromebox logo, and it looks sick. But then the Asus has a 15-watt wireless charger in there.
Yeah,
which is so cool. Robbie discovered it
a few while back. I was like, not sure what this is going to be, but
hey, you got it sitting on the desk. Boom,
makes sense.
Yeah,
there you go.
I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, it has a bunch of ports on the back and
plenty of ports. I think it'll run 4 monitors.
Yeah, 4K displays.
It's no bigger than any previous model. So I mean, if you just had that on, like I could put that on my desktop right now, and I could eliminate everything on my desk other than my monitor.
If I didn't review Chromebooks, I would be a Chromebox guy.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, and 12th gen, I'm assuming all the new good stuff,
all the new goodies.
Yeah.
So you can also run games on it eventually.
Yeah. And same thing with the Acer Chromebox. It's
internally
new,
same
stuff.
same
4K or 4K monitors.
Yeah, and that's why this year was kind of cool, because Chromeboxes are Chromeboxes. It really boils down to the price and the ability. Some Chromeboxes are a little bit more difficult to get apart, but
Asus's have always been super easy.
Yeah,
just pop the top off,
but
and move the
you
stuff
can
around.
upgrade the RAM and the storage in them. They're all pretty much the same. The internals are the same. It's just the price and the customer support that you're going to get. This year, we saw 2 new Chromeboxes that have 2 new features that we've never really seen before. Acer's isn't completely unique, because CTL has been doing for a while now. They do like a monitor Chromebox bundle that they call an all-in-one. It's really not. It's just mounted to the back of it. But Acer took it a little bit further. Theirs has they have one variation that has this cool slot in the back where the Chromebox slides into. The Chromebox itself is very industrial. It's very much an enterprise device. It's not going to look attractive sitting on your desk, in my opinion.
It is not.
But
it's not attractive.
Even though looks like they had a little stand that you could.
yeah, they do have a vertical stand.
It
you
looks
can
like a
use.
heat sink.
That's exactly what it looks like. One of these like kiosk ones that have a heat sink
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
metal and all that stuff. But like the cheese grater one that's on my desk right now. But they the add-in one, which is what they're calling it, it's more than just a monitor. The monitor has ports. It has a built-in 5 megapixel webcam, I think.
For sure.
Noise reduction, privacy, shade, and everything built in. So the premise is you have your Chromebox that comes with the keyboard and mouse, and then you have your add-in one, and it's everything you need.
Yeah.
So, and then if you need to, you can just take the Chromebox with you, take it home, work from home, whatever.
Yeah, they posited that as a use case. I'm like,
I think that's weird. I mean,
have one of the monitor add-in ones at home, one at home, one at work. You just take your box with you and put it in your bag. Like,
yeah. Again, it's one of those things. It's
I
like
guess.
it's plausible. Is it a big use case? No. I could see like, hey, you're taking an extended absence from work, and you need to take a managed work device. Absolutely, that's going to happen. The percentage is going to be.
Yeah, I think that
minuscule.
the bigger use case is you got 50 of them in a
Thought the desk was
workspace.
coming up there for a second.
You got a bunch of them workspace. This person's monitor went out. Cool.
Yeah.
Put a new add-in one, drop your box back in, and get back to work.
Right,
Like, you don't
yeah.
have to mess with this.
But they did tell us the original announcement, it's just a 23.8 inch full HD display. They have one that goes up and down, and then they have another one that has like a pretty good degree of tilt. But they said that they are in the process of working on a larger version, so maybe like a 32 or something like that, but also a rotating version, because there is a touchscreen option, and that would put it a bit more on par with HP's Chrome base.
Yeah.
So it becomes more of a Chrome base, a little bit more functionality, because you think kiosk applications for customers who need to interact with stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's it's
interesting.
different. It's not anything new and groundbreaking, but it's innovative for that space.
Yeah, it's a slightly different take on
Yeah.
on something. They're doing something a little different, and I think with Chromeboxes, you can get a little creative on some of this stuff and try to fancy it up a bit.
I keep hoping for a Chrome bit, though. I mean, the Chrome bit makes more sense now than it did, 10 years ago when it came out?
Any of these MediaTek processors,
Yeah.
and a little stick.
I mean, you think about ChromeOS Flex, you can take that anywhere with you and run it, but you're limited to the amount of, 8 gigs of storage or whatever. But a dedicated, this is my thing. Because you think about what they're saying with the Chromebox, you could take it home with you, whatever. Chromebit makes way more sense for that.
Oh, yeah.
Way more sense.
Put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Asus.
Yeah. So next up, let's talk about the Lenovo.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go in the order that we filmed them.
It's pretty straightforward. It was actually announced before CES, but we got to mess with it and kind of confirm what we were hoping about it. It's a small-ish Chromebook. It's going to be affordable, $350. I think starting for $464. I think is the configuration there. But it's got the N100 or N200 processors inside. I don't know if we were supposed to, but we did anyway. We ran a benchmark on the N100 because we were just curious. It's the newest small core. So if you keep up with this stuff, you think Jasper Lake, you think Gemini Lake, that kind of stuff. This is the latest version of that.
Right.
But they're getting rid of all this naming and stuff. It's just Alder Lake is where we're at right now, 12th gen. So it's Alder Lake N, meaning just the small cores. That's it.
And it's a little bit of a different take than what we're used to with Intel. The small core ones are usually dual core or quad core. The new N-Lake series, it's up to 8 small cores. So they're all power efficient. There's no power cores or anything like that. They're touting 15-hour battery life and all that stuff. But I saw there's an Acer Windows device that's actually available now that has a N300 in it. I would love to see what that thing does. But
yeah, so I think they said May, didn't they?
Yeah,
for this one, so it's not going to be out quite yet. And Alder Lake N needs probably a little bit more time to be worked on. But the key parts of this device are it's a 16 by 10 panel at full HD resolution, 300 nits. Thank you.
What size is it
for making?
What size is it?
12.2.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a little bit taller display. So it's a good looking panel. It's a convertible, and it has the performance you're going to want and battery life you're going to want out of a device like this. Keyboard feels okay, and trackpad was okay too, but it was pretty firm for a plastic, an all plastic device, and it's just going to be one of those devices. It's going to come out, it's going to go on sale, and it's going to be sub $300, and benchmarks we ran on it's pushing up towards like the 10th gen Core i3 scores.
It's crazy.
Just nuts for an affordable device. It's going to get wicked battery life. I mean, you're just going to be able to use this thing for probably a couple days of work before you have to charge it. So that device is interesting because I feel like it's something that has a lot of what users are going to want and need in a Chromebook, and the price is going to be fine, and the performance isn't going to be a problem. Like I felt like with Jasper, like we got close. It was like
it was a big leap, but it
good.
wasn't quite there yet.
These you won't have any issue with performance on a Chromebook. It's going to be great. So interesting.
Were there two colors? Because I saw someone else got a photo of their blue color that they do.
I thought ours was blue.
Okay, well then there was another one. Somebody wrote an article and it was about the 3i, and it was a different color.
Yeah.
I
mean, they usually do the Abyss blue and then like a
gray or something.
A sand.
So maybe it was like we had the blue and then they had the gray. I don't know.
Yeah,
I want to say it was maybe Kevin. I don't know. I saw a headline that was a different color.
But
another
interesting device. For sure.
Definitely interesting, and it's kind of this idea that we've talked about on the podcast and Robbie's written about of kind of that entry level getting a little better, right?
Let's bring it up a little bit.
And another device that showed up that we did not expect to see at all was the Asus CM14.
Yeah, so it's same idea here. It's affordable, but it's got some stuff in it that's better than what you
built
expect.
really well. Just the demo units, because we actually saw it before we got to Asus. We were at MediaTek's booth talking to our friends with MediaTek, and they had a GeForce Now setup thing where you could play GeForce Now, and they had two of these MediaTek powered Chromebooks that are previously on.
We were like, what are these?
There's still no press release about them. I look, they're not in any of the press releases.
They have a landing page, but no press release.
Yeah, the landing page. So there's a flip and a clamshell, and it's the MediaTek Companion 520. So,
and he said that 528 offers like a 10% boost or something. But
just clocked up a little.
Yeah, it's not going to be a huge boost for most things. From what we could tell, I mean, it moved around pretty good.
External monitor, GeForce Now running.
Yeah, you
Discord.
get 1080p out, so that was the problem with the original Duet. Couldn't do a 1080p monitor output. That's fixed. And it was running GeForce Now with Discord in the bottom screen, like live streaming what we were doing, and it worked. This one I think is going to be like a $300-ish machine.
Yeah. This was they didn't give us any firm pricing or release date on this one.
No, and the trackpad's nice and large. It had a 1080p webcam, and it's super thin. Like that's what I remember about that device. Like,
I got a couple shots.
Man,
I got a couple shots
really
of it in tint mode, and it's just
because it's an ARM processor. They don't have to have all that fan junk in there. And then it's got a stowable stylus on the side, which is a nice touch.
I forgot about the stylus.
I expect for a low-end $300 Chromebook to have a garaged USI recharging pin.
And this,
nice.
And this
Good
is what
step
we've
up.
talked about for so long, is that $300 to $400 price range in Chromebooks is such a weird space, because you to get something that's middle of the road specs and power, you're creeping up to $500, and at that point you might as well buy a premium device. Anything below $300 is usually that budget bad screen. This we
flimsy.
have we have 3 devices at CES, the Lenovo and 2 of the Asuses, that are both I could at $300 or $350 I could easily say, hey, absolutely, go buy it.
Those.
Yeah.
The clamshell, was it a matte screen?
Yeah, it was anti-glare. I
Anti-glare
don't even
screen.
think it had touch on it. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it was the cheapest version of this thing. So
Yeah.
it might, again, until they come out, like it's hard to say.
But the flip one, I thought the screen looked pretty good.
Pretty
on
good.
it.
It's 250 nits,
Yeah.
good colors and stuff like that. And obviously it
Yeah.
flips around into tablet mode and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, good potential there. But I just like seeing some of those improvements.
Yeah.
In
Oh,
that
for
price
sure.
range.
For sure.
It's nice.
On the Asus train, let's talk about the gaming device.
This one was way more exciting.
Yeah.
Like this one and the HP are the ones that I was like really
I
excited
saved
to
the best
see.
for last.
Because that's what, remember, going to the Asus booth a couple years ago with the C436, all we had seen was pictures. We had these super high hopes that, like, this is going to be Asus's swing at Samsung and everyone else. And the gorgeous device.
It was.
And so disappointing.
And so there's a little bit of like, is this going to be okay or not? And especially, we just put out our review of the CX or the
55.
Vibe CX55, and just calling a spade. It was a rehashed Chromebook.
Yep.
They at least let us know that that's exactly what it was. We wanted to get in on it, and we had these lying around. It was the CM5 basically, with new internals, and so this new Chromebook is not that at all. This is a completely new thing. It doesn't look like anything Asus has made before. I'm pretty sure it's mostly plastic, maybe all plastic. I don't remember. I don't even feel like the lid was.
I think it was plastic.
I'm not sure.
But it's an interesting plastic, similar to what Asus is doing with that flip. It's or with the MediaTek flip. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. And it's rigid, like very, very rigid, but it's like a pearlescent white kind of look to it. Like it was nice. It was nice to hold. Like the keyboard felt really good. The trackpad felt good. The screen's 400 nits. It was a 16 by 10 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Was Lenovo 3 by 2 or 16 by 10?
I think it was 16 by 10, but I
think it
could be
was, too.
wrong.
I was in my head. I was like,
recall.
it might be. I think it's 16 by 10. Anyway, 16 by 10, 400 nit, full HD screen, full HD plus. I think the webcam's like 5 megapixels or something. I don't know. And we couldn't. It was really loud in that booth, and so we tried to listen to the speakers to see, because the only good thing I can say about the Vibe CX55 and the CX5 and the CM5, they're all the same chassis. The speakers in those things are excellent. Couldn't really tell, but definitely not as loud as the CX5.
They have a stylus?
Just stowable stylus inside. So at first I thought it was going to have vibes kind of like the CX5400, which we all love.
Yeah.
All aluminum, thin, all that kind of stuff. Not really.
No, it's way more CM5 vibes.
Yeah.
Just well built.
Right.
Yeah.
RGB keyboard, we didn't say that. It's got the
144 hertz.
Yeah, 144 hertz screen. So, I mean, it does all the gaming stuff right. Plus, it's got tons of internal speed, Core i5, 12th gen, 256 memory, 16 gigs of RAM, I think.
8 for the
8 or 16.
769, then
$100 gets you.
$100 more gets you double the storage and double
Double
the
the
RAM.
RAM.
That's
Yep.
on Asus's website right now.
So, I mean, it's going to be a good Chromebook.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very good Chromebook for a lot of people. It's got a nice look to it too. Like it doesn't just look like another laptop. Like it's like, ooh, it's kind of got a thing.
It's got the orange accents, which are nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then having that speed of a processor, I'm sure the pen input's going to be quite nice too. And having the stylus there, and then it was like, oh, when is this going to be available? They're like, I think like right now.
Yeah, he was like, it's supposed to be on Amazon today or tomorrow.
I'm
I'm like,
really?
okay. Sure enough, it was on B&H Photo, and it is now shipping. You can get it from a couple different places.
Yeah, so that's exciting. So we'll have that one in the office soon, and get to mess around with it. And it's nice to see Asus come back off the CX55 that felt very rushed and just kind of half-hearted.
Yeah.
To see that, like, I feel like this is probably if they had their
This was the device they wanted to do.
This is what they would have wanted to introduce, and it gives you an option for a touchscreen and a convertible, and a little bit smaller form factor to get all that cool gaming stuff. And I'll be the first to tell you, like, these gaming Chromebooks are great for GeForce Now. They really are. I mean, they make playing it just a little bit more fun, like that high refresh rate screen and stuff. Like, just something about that.
Yeah.
So,
And it's still, Asus is still only the only one that has a convertible gaming Chromebook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, their two are the only flips.
Yeah.
So.
and the only touchscreens on them. So if you really want a gaming Chromebook and you're just like, I gotta have a touchscreen.
And that's the cool thing. They're not
You got it.
wild looking, so these legitimately could be respectable work devices,
yeah,
and they have
100%.
plenty of power to do everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like Asus mentioned to us a few times about productivity. Like they kept mentioning productivity because I think they do want this one to be a productivity machine in addition to being
100%,
a gaming cloud gaming device.
Yeah, they all of them I think get the idea that they wanted to lean towards a little bit of gaming, but they wouldn't go like crazy RGB, crazy monster faces,
predator looking,
it's gonna eat you, like
it's gonna
what is this?
Maybe after Steam comes out,
like some sort of transformer.
Yeah.
Some of the gaming hardware in general
I was looking
is
at
so over the top, ridiculous.
The Asus, they had their Tough gaming
that's
right
what
next
I've got.
to
That's what
So
you have in there, yeah.
and they had one that I was like, oh, is that two devices like stacked on top of each other?
Nope.
No, the whole bottom is this like massive
It's probably got
cooling
a desktop.
system.
It's probably got a desktop GPU. In the
Yeah,
bottom of
it's
it.
like this. It was like this thick on the bottom, and then the laptop looked like it was sitting on top. And I was like, "Oh no, that's just one whole
Yeah,
thing."
it's a whole
At that
thing.
point, why don't you just get a desktop? But
that way you can
whatever.
pick this thing up, put it in your
I
bag,
know.
and take it.
Yeah,
LAN
true.
parties, baby. We
Just the whole world that we don't really know
Asus
anything about.
Slab.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
If you get mad enough at the game, pick it up and you can hit somebody with it.
I
Really hurt 'em.
love the screen, and it's so hard to capture. We film everything at 30 frames a second, so it's impossible to capture refresh rate on these screens. But I don't know, if you watch it, you might be able to tell some of the smoothness. But 144 hertz done right looks
Yeah.
real
yeah.
nice.
So yeah, that's the other thing. 144 hertz on their CX55 was terrible.
Yeah,
like, it
'cause
was
you were
super
getting
ghosty.
ghosting and weird
Like,
stuff.
It didn't. I honestly, I did not believe it was 144 hertz. I thought they
Because the
were
other ones are
making it up.
120, right?
and they look so buttery
Much better,
smooth. They're good panels. The Lenovo and the Acer both. They're not touch, not convertible, but they are gorgeous screens. And so yeah, this one at 144 hertz is. I have a hard time telling the difference between 144 and 120. Like I switch it on my monitor. My monitor's got I think 165 technically, but ChromeOS will do up to 144. At least what I'm the framework I'm running. And I switched it to 144 the other day, and I was like, hey, I can't
Yeah.
tell it. It's as long as it's smooth. Like when I can track stuff on the screen without it, blurring on the screen. I'm like, that's what I want to see. I just want to see all that animation.
Yeah.
Which ChromeOS looks great.
We
with.
forgot to mention the NVIDIA demo that we got to go check out. There was some cool stuff there,
Yeah,
too.
there was.
But mainly the ultimate upgrade that they rolled out.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And technically, it's not like we upgraded while we were sitting there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not actually going to be working probably for another couple weeks until they roll it out to all servers. But yeah, basically, if you're on the top tier, you now go to Ultimate, which is a RTX 4080 running in their little pods. And it gives you up to 240 in standard definite, or like full HD, 240 frames, but 120 in 4K. Yeah. And then obviously you still get your 120 in quad HD too. But they got into a lot of stuff about latency with that, which is super interesting. And they were talking about the combination of all the things that can reduce latency. And one of them is just rendering all the stuff at high frame rates at the server level, because it just takes less time for those things to happen. So even if your screen isn't 120 hertz, if they're rendering it for that, it reduces latency.
You're still getting the benefit.
Right.
Right.
And they were down to 38. Is that what
38
it
milliseconds is where they're at.
What was it? Click per action or click per pixel?
It's
click per pixel.
Click to pixel.
Click to pixel. Yeah.
So it's like the
ratio.
As soon as they do slow mo stuff, and so as soon as the button gets pressed, how long it takes an action to happen on screen. And the interesting part is they showed what Xbox was like 120.
120. Yeah.
And some gaming Chromebooks or gaming like laptops will get that number down a little bit below 38. But
and that's
hard.
and that's their whole thing, is they're wanting to get this out there and market this as this isn't a concession that you're having to make to do cloud game. This is a viable alternative to local PC gaming that's just as good. And I mean, we sat down and played some of them.
We were playing on one of their Ultimate servers in California, because they only have like 2, I think, on the West Coast right now for trial. And we were in a Vegas convention center thing, and they actually had them. They're a really fun little demo. So they had these 3 towers and these 3 computers hooked up, and then they would lift the tower side up and show you what was actually in it.
Like a laptop in it.
Yeah. So one was a
Surface running in.
it was
Ultimate,
just a plain
and then
like
3080.
Yeah,
and then something else.
Then GeForce Now.
Yeah.
And you could tell on the Surface was not running Apex Legends very well. Like, it was pretty jittery, probably 20 frames a second, And so, but then there were 2 that you're just like, I can't really tell. So me and this other guy sat down and we're messing with it, and then we swapped seats. And we both, I think he said he liked the one that I ended up on too. And I was like, I like the look of this better. I don't know what that means. So was afraid. I was like, crap, I'll probably pick the PC, and it turned out.
But they were that indiscernible. They
right.
Were, yeah.
But it turned out we both chose.
Yeah.
The better thing was GeForce Now.
Yeah.
Instead of this 3080 PC with.
And in all honesty, I mean, on a good connection, the tier that we have right now, just the 3080 tier, is still incredible
really
gaming. So this is
taking it up a notch.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what. I don't know. I don't know how it could get much better. There's nothing in it that bothers
Negative
me.
latency.
Yeah.
It just starts moving.
I wanted to move before I clicked.
Like he died before I shot him. There you go.
Yeah, I played some
Very
Fortnite
cool.
the other day. They've at least got on Fortnite, if you change it to where you can, we did a whole video about this, changing settings. They've updated it already before this Ultimate comes out. DirectX 12 and stuff's already turned on, so you don't have to go in and reboot and stuff like that. You just go in and crank everything up to max. Most of it's already turned up. So my bet is once 4080's there, it'll just be cranked. Because I looked at Apex,
cool.
I loaded Apex, and I was like, check these settings. It's already cranked.
Yeah.
Everything's cranked to max,
Yeah.
and no worse for wear.
Yeah.
I guess it just gets a little bit better. I don't know. It's so good.
It's gonna somehow get a little better.
Yeah, as long as and it'd be like, the latency. Hopefully, I don't have any.
Yeah.
No.
There's none discernible to me, and I'm not competitive or anything.
Right.
But, I feel like I kind of know a few things about a few things. And
Yeah.
it seems pretty darn good to me.
Yeah, it was a cool demo. It was a cool demo for sure, and nice seeing Asus put out a proper gaming device. So.
Yeah. Oh, and the Acer 516 GE was up on their row of things
in the
to play.
NVIDIA booth. Yeah.
And the
It's a
guy
good
we
device.
talked to is like, I got one of these for my son, or I got one of these for me. I think he's like, my son ended up taking it and really likes it. And I was like, yeah, that's actually what I got in my backpack right now. He's like, oh, cool. You can do more than just basic stuff on here. I'm like, looking at my name tag, like,
Do you know who we are?
That's all we talk about, man. It's
Like,
okay.
You don't say.
It's okay.
Yeah, interesting.
Really?
All right, we saved the best for last. We're going to come back and talk about the HP Dragonfly Pro. Coming right back. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. Now it's time to talk about the Dragonfly Pro. Look at it. Look how good it looks.
Just look at that.
Just look at that.
Well,
Look how good it looks. For those listening, we're looking at the Dragonfly Pro behind us
Go watch
On the
you can
TV.
see it.
on the TV.
We got a video. Yeah, we got.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, we got plenty of stuff out about it.
No.
But man, haven't looked forward to a Chromebook like this in a while. I don't think I can say when the review period's going to start, but I was happy about it.
Did you
We'll
hear
say
anything
that.
back about that other thing that we were talking about?
Secrets.
Don't remember.
Secrets don't make
Graphics.
friends.
Huh?
Graphics.
I don't know.
The email we got from what's his face?
Oh, yeah. We can talk about that real quick.
Okay. But you haven't heard, have you?
No, not officially yet, but I think he's right.
Yeah, it stinks.
But yeah, the Dragonfly Pro, we knew kind of going in, like this is going to be a super interesting device. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, this could be really excellent. And then we got to PepCom and saw it, and I was like,
It's more than excellent.
It was.
this thing is real cool. If you like the Pixelbook Go, if you were down with that kind of device, like this is just a great Chromebook experience. I think that's what this is going to do.
Yeah.
I didn't do much on it. They didn't have it on the internet there, and I think they'd even said maybe they didn't want it connected.
Oh no, she literally was sitting there telling someone next to me, I don't know who it was, it might have been Gabe, that they didn't want it on the internet, and Robbie's over there creating
Hotspot,
a
baby.
hotspot.
Messing with you.
Like as she's talking, I was like, all right.
It was in like guest mode and had that goofy background on it. Or no, that's what it was. The background that's on there, I put that on there, but it had some weird background, and I was like, oh, this looks awful. And so we went to change it. You can see it in the video. It's that gray, there's that grayish background.
Yeah.
We went to change it, and I guess it wasn't backed up or something. And since it wasn't online, that background went away. Like it disappeared, so there was no backgrounds to choose from. I'm like, ugh. So I had to get it online for a minute to do that. Like I didn't run any tests on it or anything.
Yeah.
But, and I'm pretty sure it was in guest mode too, because I think that's our Chrome Unboxed icon alignment down there. So I logged us in real quick, and then that was on there. No, that was at Asus. Our account was on there, and that was the only one on there. I was like, power wash. Hope this isn't some weird. It worked
Oops.
out though. But yeah, the premise is pretty simple. It's you take the Dragonfly from last year, remove the convertible stuff, and really hone in the googliness of Chrome OS with this thing. And it does. It feels very Google inspired.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to some people that may or may not have told us that they were heavily involved. It's pretty clear. But HP has kind of been moving in that direction. And if you think way back to the first HP Chromebook 11, they had a release thing for that with Google. Like there was a little online event. And so, HP has worked with Google on Chromebooks for a long time. This one, I know we were told last year with the Dragonfly, they worked very closely with Google to get, the haptic trackpad and all that kind of stuff. It feels like this year they said, we want to make sure all the pieces work, but also, how can we make this thing just good?
Yeah.
Like that last 10%.
Yeah,
like how do we
aesthetic.
get it from just because the Pixelbook Go isn't like some revolution in specs. I mean, it had a pretty ordinary screen on it. I mean, it was a 1080p, like 300 nit screen. It wasn't great. But they got all the little details that are needed to make a great experience right. The way it feels when you hold it, the trackpad, the keyboard, the speakers, just the feel of the device, like the attention to details, and that's the exact vibe I got off of the HP one.
Yeah, and it's weird because we've seen other devices. The CX9 was the first one, and then the Elite, which I use on a daily basis. Both of those I kind of had hopes for that, and they're both great devices. They're solid.
Yeah,
they're well.
Like they're bad.
They're awesome. Neither one of them have that je ne sais quoi, that intangible thing that the Pixelbook that we've talked about for years with the Pixelbook and the Pixelbook Go, and even the Pixels before that.
Yeah.
This is the first device that's really truly given off that vibe. Galaxy Chromebook got real close, but then it tripped. It tripped a little bit.
And I remember being on the showroom floor and thinking, like, with the Galaxy Chromebook, like, okay, this does feel like, and from what we understand, that's kind of what was happening. Like Samsung wanted to take a swing, and they did, and the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook was, if most Chromebooks, good Chromebooks, get to what we would call like a 90% solution, I feel like it went to like 93 or 94.
Yeah.
Like they put some niceties in there. But, I could tell on the showroom floor when I picked it up how wobble or how bendy like the lid was where the screen is. Like, that's probably going to be a problem when you flip it around. Right. It didn't magnetize when you closed it, even though it was perfectly boxy in its shape.
Should have.
Would have been perfect for that,
Yeah.
They also chose to go with a 16:9 screen, which is terrible in a 13, 14-inch device when you're going to convert it. And so those are the things that kind of just ding. You thought about it probably and went, we have these screens lying around, so suck it up. We're going to do this instead.
And price.
Well, and it overheated, and it had a 4-hour or 3.5-hour battery life. And so those are the things, obviously, that nope. From a just general user standpoint, like, it was really pretty, and it felt nice for a few minutes, and they were always just like, ugh. And that's kind of how I feel about the Dragonfly Elite after it being around for a little bit. I'm like, there's a weird creak down by the trackpad that I noticed, way after our review period. It wasn't enough that I'm going to go like write an article about it and be like, whoa, because it could just be ours or whatever. But
I will say
it's a non-moving trackpad. Why is it creaking?
I will say, and it's not to the point that it's unusual, but the fan ports on the new Pro are on the back. Mm-hmm. It's not even ports on the Elite. It's a grill directly on the bottom. It looks like that grill, but directly on the bottom. It gets warm. It gets uncomfortably warm when you lap it and you sit and work on it. And I'm not talking like you've worked on it for like 4 hours. Like, I can sit down to bang out a quick article and it's like, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing.
And from what HP was telling us, like, the development of that device was just weird. That's why it ended up with so many different SKUs, and the way it was sold was weird. And they really wanted to try something, and I appreciate HP for trying that one. From a consumer standpoint, it didn't have a ton of success because it was hard to find for a long time. Once
pricey.
It came around, and then when it did come around, it was super pricey. They never put together a model to say, "Hey,
here's the consumer version."
Yeah, let's go to Best Buy and buy this one." It just never happened, and it's a shame because it had all the stuff. There were all the checks. You got everything. This one feels, if you're okay with a clamshell Chromebook, like they did that. Like they said, okay, let's take everything we did with that one that was good. Let's just put it here. And now how can we
refine it?
Yeah, refine all the rough edges and sand those down and really think about what it feels like to pick something up, or really think, because like the Elite's not bendy or anything, but it doesn't feel like.
Yeah, and
Solid.
if you've ever picked up a Pixelbook Go, you know what we're
Especially
talking
the
about. If
Go.
you haven't, find one and
Well, the
pick it up.
Pixelbook is this way too.
Pixelbook's the same way, but the lid and everything on the Go, it just feels, because there are devices, I can go grab one of those Dell Latitudes over there, solid as a rock.
Oh, yeah.
But it also weighs 73 pounds.
Right.
I mean, it's a murder weapon.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. But it's an enterprise device.
Yeah.
This is not. This is
consumer.
This is like I'm going to buy a nice,
Or
a
as HP
MacBook
says,
Air.
it's a
or-
prosumer
yeah.
device.
And that's what HP said. They said this, and in the preview that we saw a few weeks ago, they said this is a consumer. This is what Joe, Susie, Bob consumer goes out, and I want a device that will do all of the things, and it looks good, and it's built well. But I don't need an enterprise device.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
we clarified, this is not an enterprise device.
Yeah.
This is going
Yeah.
to be probably Best Buy, wherever else.
Yeah.
One SKU, which is awesome and they probably learned that from Google. They probably looked at Google and Google said, hey, we made the Pixelbook Go. This is the one that's sold. Nobody's buying the 4K one. Nobody's buying what was the base model one?
The M3.
The M3. They bought the M5. It had this much RAM. And so that's what they did.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, and kudos to them for that too. It's like I'll go in. I want the HP Dragonfly Pro
right.
Chromebook. That's it.
And it's a good
That's what I
name.
want. Yeah.
Oh, and
You didn't
1200
you didn't throw
yeah.
Elite in there or C427
or the Pro Art Studio ProBook Pro Pro. But yeah, 1200 nits display.
Yeah.
I think we kind of glazed
I
over
We
see.
that.
filmed it on about 15% brightness.
Yeah, it is the
that right there is at about 15%
because the
brightness.
Elite has a 1000 nit offering that you can get, and oddly enough, right now it's cheaper than the standard screen, but it's a
Perfect example of
Yeah.
how
Yeah,
ridiculous.
HP is just crazy. But 100 nit display with the SureView, which is a very enterprise focused feature, but
Sure.
1200 nits, brightest display ever put up. You don't see a lot of what's the brightness on a Mac? That's not 1200. no.
They're usually like 800 or 900.
Yeah, you don't
they
see
go pretty high.
very few, unless you're a designer, very few Windows devices with that kind of display.
Yeah. So yeah, gorgeous display. Like the colors, it's full sRGB, all that kind of stuff, and it's a 16 by 10 quad HD, right? Yeah, it's quad HD.
Yeah.
8 megapixel front facing camera. So that's the first one there too, right?
Yeah, because
I
the
think.
only other one was
the Pixel
tablets.
Slate. What,
So, there's a tablet.
it was 5 on the front.
Yeah, I think does the Duet have an 8 on the front?
back.
No,
Pretty sure all of them have 5 on the front, 8 on the back.
right. So it's the first 8 on
Front
a
facing.
laptop that we've
Yeah.
seen. Yeah.
So, and with what HP did with the Elite, the Elite Dragonfly had a great camera on it. Like, it just really great camera. So, once it's all finished and tuned and
Calibrated,
everything,
yeah.
it's gonna
It
be
does
awesome.
have it. We didn't know because it didn't say in the press release, but it does have a fingerprint sensor right
Yep.
by the power button,
right
which
up
is
top.
cool.
And then you've got the speakers. It was really loud at PepCom, so we don't know. But I just have this vivid memory of turning up one of our videos and hearing my voice coming through that thing, and then hearing the opening track to one of our videos and feeling the machine.
Yeah, the table was
vibrate.
almost like vibrating.
Like, it was putting out sound, and not just thin, tinny sound. Like, it had, you can just feel it. When a device is putting out like good sound, those mids and
And
lows,
having a
you
good
feel
build
them.
quality adds a lot to that.
Right.
I
It's
mean,
not
the
shaking all around.
CX34 is an example. It's not an all metal, but it's a good build, and that helps with the amplification.
Yep.
But this has 4 speakers, so you have 2 grills on the top on either side, and then on each side there's what looks like a small CD port.
Yeah.
I'm assuming those are the other
It's the kind of
outputs for the
outward-facing
speakers.
speakers.
kind of long. Like, it's not like your typical little speaker,
Yeah.
that you
Which
see
makes
on
me
the bottom.
wonder if they don't have like a couple. If they have 4 speakers, if 2 of them aren't more of like a mid-low range
Yeah.
type speaker pushing out the
Pushing
side.
out the
because
side.
in the press materials it initially looked like that might have been like the fan port or something, but
Yeah.
it's not. Those are speaker ports on either side, and then it has a fan port right beneath the
It's like
screen.
in the hinge,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
and so it's very hidden. The fan port is, and then clean sides, 2 USB Type C on either side.
That's it.
That's it. They're all
Love it.
Thunderbolt 4, so they can all quick
Is there
charge. They can all output monitors. at up to
Headphone
4K.
microphone jack?
Nope.
Not even that.
Nope.
Love it.
You hook up your Bluetooth, or you get you a dongle.
Yeah. And then I don't know if we
some
mentioned-
people get upset about that, but I'm like, if you're going for this very minimalistic,
Yeah.
straightforward device, that works.
Yeah, that
2023.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
the people that complain about, like, this isn't going to be in a classroom where kids are using headphones. Like they said, this is a prosumer device. Prosumers have AirPods or Pixel Buds.
Yeah, I don't know the last time I
bag.
plugged a set of headphones into the headphone microphone jack on my Chromebook.
Whenever I edit.
Oh, on your Chrome.
This is it.
Oh, okay.
This is it.
Yeah.
And when you
on
edit.
editing,
Yeah.
it's the only time I ever plug in anything. And I don't know if we mentioned it, but haptic trackpad.
Yeah.
Yes.
It makes a
And-
return, which is awesome.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the what was it, the Dragonfly or the CX9 that had the little tap in it?
That's CX9.
That was the CX9.
Which
Doesn't do anything fancy like that, but
Sorry, it's useless.
So
that
haptic
feature
trackpad-
would be better with a haptic trackpad,
Right,
because
you'd
if
feel
you're
like
That's
you're
why I was
punching
thinking it
the
was
if
maybe
you're a number
Dragonfly
cruncher,
Elite.
you know, using a keypad without looking at it, if you can't feel the haptics from it, that's,
But the other thing too is like just like your home keys on the keyboard, the number 5's got a little thing on
Yeah.
it, so your middle finger can feel that.
you don't get none of
You
that.
don't get any of that on the trackpad. So, yeah, it's a silly feature.
But haptic
Um,
trackpad, which is very cool.
Yeah, and I didn't even look at their function key. I'm looking at their function.
They
right
do have
now.
the mic mute like the Elite
Yeah.
does, which is cool. There's
RGB
a
keyboard.
screenshot RGB, which
Yeah.
some people bagged on, but
which
Just turn it
I don't-
off.
I don't get it.
Right, make it white.
If
and
you
move
don't
on.
like it-
It's
yeah,
such a
again,
weird
pro
thing.
consumer device. Pro consumers like their devices to be kind of unique. So I want my entire keyboard to be teal because that's my signature color.
And by the way,
That's my soul color.
Exactly. My aura is feeling magenta today.
the RGB looks better on this keyboard than I'm a little color deficient, and I could see all the colors on this one. Like even in the lighting of Pepcom and everything,
That's
I'm
those,
like,
mute,
ooh, I
those
can actually see
muted
'em.
keys really help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that too.
And all one color, the entire device except for the bezels, obviously.
When
which looks so good.
backlighting was off, were the keycaps
I don't know if I ever turned it off.
I don't know that we looked at that.
I don't know.
Might have to-
Hopefully they're dark.
Yeah,
Probably are, but
I would hope so. I
We'll
might have
see.
gotten some B. We'll have to go back and look. I think there was maybe a few shots of B-roll where it wasn't on.
yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to go look.
But yeah, I mean, it reminds me so much of the Pro, and there's stuff that I can't. It's so hard to explain unless you've picked up a Pixelbook Pro. But if you haven't, go pick up a MacBook or like a MacBook Air. Go pick up any of the Surface laptops and just handle them for a minute, and you'll feel it. You'll feel what that attention to detail, the Dell XPS line, like those types of devices where it's like, hey, we got the specs, we did all that homework, we're good here. Now we're going to take the last bit of time and really refine the overall package here, and that's what this feels like. It feels so reminiscent of the Pixelbook Go, just with upgraded everything. I mean, like the Pixelbook Go, we kind of backed. It's like, well, it'd be nice if it had a fingerprint scanner. It'd be nice if it had
screen
a
was better
screen, because it had the 4K model, and the 4K screen sucked on it real bad.
Yeah, it was
and,
crazy expensive.
and and so like, but other than that, it kind of did everything you wanted, and so that's kind of where this one falls to me. And I'm one finger lift too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Touchscreen?
Yeah.
Okay, touchscreen. It's just like the Go, where it has the. And there are times I use the touchscreen on the Go because I still
do.
work from the Go.
I do. I don't think it's necessary to
No.
have a touchscreen. It's not.
But
anymore.
I like swiping notifications.
Yeah, well,
Little
it's just
stuff.
sometimes if you're working on it and something comes up, you just
Yeah.
reach up, poke it instead of click.
Yeah.
And it's 2 or 3 seconds, but when it happens all over the place, like it does kind of wear on you a little bit not to have a touchscreen. And every once in a while, you're going to have an Android app that just sometimes you can't find the keyboard thing, or they forgot to add the mouse control for whatever. Just reach up, touch the dang screen, And so I can't wait. I can't wait for this. For me, like convertible Chromebooks, I don't really have a whole lot of use for them. So just a laptop
I would
is.
say that most people don't.
They,
but-
they probably don't. It's
I don't
like,
know.
it's there in case I need it. Well,
There were
it's
times.
fine.
There were times I feel like when you had the Pixel Book, there were times in meetings you would flip it around. But that's somebody working in design in a marketing firm in meetings once a month, maybe. Where you flip it around.
Nowadays, I rarely ever flip
I think I've ever
convertible
put the
devices around.
Elite in convertible. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for a handful of people. I'm sure it is useful, but for most people, it's just not that useful.
Yeah.
I could see like GeForce Now maybe being able to flip it into that in your lap and play. But I've been playing GeForce Now with a controller.
Yeah.
With the Acer 516 GE.
Yeah.
I
It doesn't
will go.
convert.
I will
It's
go.
fine.
If my son wants me to play Roblox with him, I will go convertible for that because touch is easier than keyboard.
Right. And
But-
so I mean, those things are nice.
Right.
When you need them.
But if going clamshell allows you to maybe get the one finger lift, get a little bit of extra build quality here and
Keep
there,
the bezels down.
keep the bezels down, whatever. It's just so great. They didn't give us pricing.
No.
They didn't give us release date.
Refuse. I
They were
tried
very tight-lipped.
so hard.
On pricing.
$1,000.
That's where I think it's going to be.
If it comes
$9.99.
in lower than 1,000, it's going to be like
I'd be shocked.
that would be
Insane.
awesome.
I wouldn't be
doubt-
shocked if it's $1,099, but I feel
Yeah.
like as a consumer device, they need to keep it to three digits.
Yeah,
Before you
$9.99.
hit that
Or
decimal.
$9.49. That would be good.
Ooh,
That would be good. I
$9.49
like
would be
that.
pretty saucy.
Yeah, and it internally 12 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM, 12th gen Core i5,
Yeah.
and then 256 internal NVMe storage, and that's it.
All
there
good
are
stuff.
no other options.
Yeah. No excuse.
But what Gabe was alluding to earlier is the one thing. It's like it's a little weird. Apparently, with XE graphics and Intel processors, they revert back to the UHD graphics, which is the kind of GPU standard thing that came before.
I saw this
If
email.
there are not two RAM slots being used, not available, but being used in the device. And so when I read that, I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. I guess maybe it does. I don't know. It seems like a really stupid thing. So what it seems like is, even if there are two RAM slots, I don't think there are in this thing. I don't think it's going to be very upgradable at all. But if there's only one RAM slot in use, which they have 116 gig of RAM stick, and they put it in there and they seal it up and they ship it off, well, guess what? That chip reverts back to UHD graphics because of that.
So you're telling me like one of these
If they just
Chromeboxes
did
that come
8.8,
out only has a single stick in it, it's going to
revert to UHD.
That's probably worth sharing with the world.
Yeah. Somebody
Interesting.
wrote a LinkedIn. Sounds like LinkedIn have a blog or something, or someplace like it had LinkedIn.
Yeah,
at the
LinkedIn.
top.
You can write posts on.
And he wrote a
LinkedIn.
very lengthy post about this phenomenon and with Iris Xe.
It makes me wonder with like these like 714s and stuff that are out there. Are they 2 4 gigs or is it 1 8 gig? Because if it's 2 4 gigs, then or 1 8 gig, then you're not getting.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you go back and read that article he posted, like he shows with two of the same laptops, he runs tests and gets a pretty considerable performance drop in heavy
Might have to take
GPU oriented
something
tasks.
Yeah.
It's intriguing and weird, and it's an Intel thing, unfortunately. So I've reached out to HP and
I was
asked.
gonna say HP should be able to clarify that for
Yeah,
us.
so I want to get that clarified. But if you look at the stat sheet right now, it does say UHD graphics. It does not say Iris
Right.
Xe. There's
Didn't
no
they tell us Iris Xe at the show?
maybe, but with
That could have.
the Dragonfly, I think last year they didn't put Iris Xe, or no, they listed an i3 on their website. They listed the i3 with Iris Xe, and we're like, what? There's an i3? No, there is no
There
such
isn't.
thing.
It was a misprint.
And so I'm like, until we hear, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say either way, but yeah, that would be a little bit of a bummer because
Yeah.
you got a pro device not utilizing the GPU that's inside of it because of a RAM stick.
That would
so
stink.
silly.
That would stink.
Like, if it's 16 gigs, fine. Bust it into 8 gigs and throw them in there.
Right.
Like, I have a hard time believing there's only one slot for RAM inside that motherboard.
Surely somebody thought about this.
Yeah.
Some engineer who's in charge of RAM
Uh-oh.
at HP is going to be like, uh-oh.
Oh, crap.
Oh,
Well,
bummer.
Or there should be a way you could, in the firmware, just tell it to
Force it.
override that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
doesn't
Intel
matter.
should give you that option.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
Anywho.
It's a weird thing. That
Hopefully
Intel has
that's
put
not
in
the
place.
case, but we'll know.
Even if it is,
we'll know more soon.
It's not like it's going to be slow or anything.
Right. Right.
It just might not be the one you want to buy if you're
Yeah.
going to really leverage Steam games
Yeah,
down the road.
that's.
So we'll know more. We'll hopefully hear back from HP and we'll report on that. But regardless, this is a fantastic Chromebook, and it's so cool to see HP refine the
Yeah.
Dragonfly and put out
Yeah.
this consumer version that is just looks to be fantastic. So
And I'll say this too about the whole GPU thing, 'cause even if they come back and say, yeah, that's the case. We didn't have space for 2 RAM sticks, and that's the way Intel processors work. Unfortunately, I'm still wanting this thing. 100%.
Yeah.
Like it's not even. It's not for me. It's not even a thing I'm not
Consideration.
even thinking about. Because if I'm going to play games, I'm going to probably play them on GeForce Now, and it's just not one of those things that's going to keep me from it because it wasn't something that kept me from loving and enjoying the Pixelbook Go.
No, because
it never.
Yeah,
had
if
the
I'm
highest
buying a new
performance.
laptop, it's not because of that. If I'm buying something specific for Steam gaming, I'm getting a Chromebox.
That's going to get a box and slap a bunch of RAM
because
into it.
I'm not going to sit and play 6 hours of Day of Defeat on a laptop.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah. So we'll obviously
find out more.
we'll update you all as we find out more on this device. But go check out all of our hands-on videos. Basically everything except for the Asus Chromebox.
Added one should be up.
The added one should be up soon.
Yeah.
We'll link everything down in the show notes so that you all can go see these devices. We tried our best to get some nice shots in, you know, conference rooms.
Vegas lighting.
But yeah, that and go check out some of the short form content that we put out. We kind of did, you know, little quick videos of each of the devices, some cool stuff that we saw. Did that on Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram Reels. So you can go check that out too at Chrome Unbox on all of those.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it for this week. We appreciate you all tuning in and listening and watching. If you are watching, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Go down there, click subscribe, and make sure to ring the bell so you get an alert when we put out another video, just like this one. Okay, that's it for this one. See you all next time. Bye-bye.